for taking time out to do H&I. Appreciate you. Thank you, Danny, for the connection. I'm an addict and I'm in recovery and I'm visiting from Brooklyn, New York. And I'm going to tell a bit about my story. Um, what's the chairperson? Is it Chris? Is Chris Kenneth? Is it Chris? That's his name. The guy's trying to. Chris, is you right, Chris? That's your name. Yeah. When Chris was talking about he had a disease and stuff like that, I never knew I had a disease. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. A disease was like HIV. A disease was hepatitis C. A disease was diabetes. You know, I didn't know about the disease of addiction until I came to Narcotics Anonymous. And so I use drugs. I'm Puerto Rican, so we start drinking young. We have our own eggnog. It's called coquito. Puerto Ricans have this drink since you're a little kid, you be drinking it. It has a lot of alcohol in it. I started getting drunk as a little boy, going to school, using drugs, using drugs, using drugs. It was fun. It was, I could dance better. I was tougher. I could fight better, all that good stuff. And somewhere along the line of my using, I crossed an invisible line. I crossed an invisible line where it stopped being fun. You know, it switched on me. It changed on me. I didn't really quite realize it when it was happening. Things started getting worse. The consequences of using began. I started going to jail as a little. They had a spot for jail in the Bronx for children. Then they got adolescent jail in Rikers Island. And I went to both of those. And I didn't know. Like some people don't know, the music stopped playing, but you still dancing. You don't know the party's over, but you're still in it. And I crossed this invisible line, and I want to get right to. I got arrested many times. I was, C-74, Adolescents at War, Rikers Island was a thing. Running the streets of Brooklyn, I got scars all over my body. I have holes all over my body, scars on my face, on my head. I'm a drug addict from Brooklyn, New York, who's doing everything and anything to get the next one. There's things that I didn't care what I had to do to get the next one. If I would wake up, I needed a hit. It was, anybody can get it. I was lost. I was messed up. And so I ended up I was in Rikers Island. I was in this jail. And then they gave me an opportunity. They said, listen, we're going to give you one chance to go to rehab. Right? I was able to go to rehab. I never heard about rehab. I went to rehab. And so they did an H&I presentation like you guys are getting now. Technology now, we're on Zoom, which I think is cool because you get speakers from all over the world, which is pretty awesome. But they had this guy came in, I guess like Danny's with you guys over there. This guy came in and he told this story, and the guy didn't look like me, and the guy didn't come from where I come from. And this is a disease of separation. My disease is in my thinking. It wants to separate me from you. I'm different. You don't understand my story. You don't know what I've been through, homeboy. I got all this stuff that separates me. It wants to separate me and separate me. This is a disease of isolation and separation, all right? It wants to rob me of the hope that Chris has to offer me, or that Kenneth that somebody so it wants to make me unique, different, and special. And you don't understand where I come from. You understand what I've been through. You understand and what it wants to do is rob me of the hope. Hope is being able to hear other people's experiences. HOPE. And so when I heard this guy share, the disease was fighting for us. Like my thinking was trying to stay close. I was trying not to hear the guy. I was trying to focus on the differences. And they told us, try to focus on the similarities. We all came in on different ships, but today we're in the same boat. No matter what drugs you use, from A to Z, from alcohol to Xanax, we don't care what drugs you use, from A to Z, and we're not dumb. We know that Xanax don't start with a Z. You understand? You understand? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what drugs you use. It doesn't matter if you lived in Park Avenue or you slept on a park bench. If you graduated from Yale or if you're in jail, the message is that any addict, a gay addict, a straight addict, a fat addict, a white addict, a black addict, Puerto Rican addict, female, any addict can stop using drugs, right? This is it blew my mind because where I come from, addicts die in dirty, in dirty hotel rooms. They die in the bathrooms in the gas stations. They go to prison. They say any addict can stop using drugs, lose the obsession to use, and find a new way of life. And this guy shared the message. And no matter how much I was trying to fight it, how many the disease was, that hope exploded in my heart that day. And I've been through a lot of different things. Like I said, on the streets, I don't. If it ain't rough, it ain't rice. I have slogans on there. I'd rather be carried by 6 than judged by 12. I have slogans when I was on the street, and so I ended up hearing the message of recovery. And one of the main things that motivated me to get clean was my mother's suffering. Right, I'm talking about the beginning of my process. My mother. I was the only son. I tell you, I got scars over my body. I got holes. I've been arrested a lot of times. One of the things that motivated me to get clean was my mother's tears. My Puerto Rican queen, she worked 2 jobs. She was a good mother. She had 3 kids, all drug addicts. I'm the only boy. And seeing my mother suffer and seeing my mother, that her baby became a monster, that thing wrecked me. Stab me, shoot me, jump me, that's cool. But my mother's suffering was ravaging me internally. I couldn't escape my mother's suffering. And she came to see me in jail once. And she said, you made my life a living hell, you bleepity bleep bleep. I don't curse. She cursed me out. She said, you made my life a living hell. She said, I don't know what I did to God. That I don't know what sin I committed, she said. I don't know what sin I committed that God would punish me with a son like you, she told me. And that thing was, hurting me. My mother said, I love you so much, Raymond. You're my baby boy. I love you so much. But if I knew that you would have came out to be a monster like you are, I would have had an abortion. And those words, my sisters came to see me once and they said, when are you gonna hurry up and die so mommy can stop suffering? And so that was the bottom of streets, gang stuff, whatever. I don't kill addicts. Check it out. We're not scared to die. We're scared to live. You know what I mean? Like, kill me, or And so my mother's suffering, what I put my family through. It's a long story. I don't have a lot of time. And so it sucked when you're doing what you're doing to your family. The people you're supposed to love the most, you're hurting the most. We say the closest get the mostest. You know what I mean? The people that love me, my addiction is dragging them and ravaging them, and it's like a tornado. You guys, and some of you know what I'm talking about. And as much as I love my mother, as much as I love my family, I couldn't stop using, man. I wanted to stop. I could not. And one of the tricks is, I thought that I could drink that coquito. I'd say, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm just gonna drink. I'm just gonna drink. Or I'm just gonna smoke. Or I'm just gonna take if you're like me, everything I tried escalated. I didn't just drink. I didn't just smoke. Everything I tried, it would escalate. And before you know it, I cannot stop using till the police come and get me. You understand? That's how I could not stop using. I have some friends that, I got to go to work. I could not stop using. And so I ended up in this rehab, man. And this guy said that addicts are recovering in Narcotics Anonymous all over the world, heroin addicts and crack addicts and all this stuff. And he said addicts, they're getting clean. They're getting clean. And they always said, all you got to do is when you leave this place. This is what he said. He said, all you got to do is when you leave this place, he said, run to a meeting. He said, he says this, some of you need to run to a meeting, he emphasized, some of you need to run to a meeting like your life depends on it, because for some of you, your life depends on it. And I knew he was talking to me. I knew that run thing, Raymond, and so I remember he said, run to me. Before I used to have hair. I don't know if you guys can see me or not, but I used to have pretty hair, long hair. You know what I mean? He said, before you go get before you get a haircut, before you go to the barber, before you go see your girlfriend, before you go have sex, before you go eat a good place of, Go run to a meeting. Go to a meeting. And so I did that. They said, yo, I ran to a meeting. As soon as I got out of my institution, I went to a meeting. They said, stay away. I went to meetings and they said, yo, stay away from people, places, and things. Stay away. If you keep doing what you always did, check it out. You're going to keep getting what you always got. Stay away from your cousins. Stay away from you. I had to stay away. If they're going to get you high before you get them clean, stay away. And that was a big deal because that's another thing. I think I'm only going to drink. That was one of the tricks of the disease for me. I'm just going to drink. I don't do, I always go on a mission. And then I would hang out with the people. Yo, how you doing? When you go to gym, when I was I do push-ups, sit-ups, and dips. I'm looking good. My skin color is right. And then people say, "Oh, Ray, what's going on?" And I want to go show the brothers I'm looking good. Ray G from the group home. I'm back, and before you know it, I'm getting high again. I'm on a run. I'm on a run. Yo, sometimes I'll be on the same day. It wouldn't take long. Sometimes I wouldn't get from jail. You got to get on a bus in Queens to go. I wouldn't make it to the bus without starting to use. You know what I mean? And so I had this disease, man, that other people don't got. I was, and so I ended up coming to meetings, and I saw people that were like me, worse than me. When you knew, you're still judging people and critical. I saw people, look at this guy, look at that bozo, look at this clown, look at it. But they're clean. They got 6 months. They got a blue key tag. They got yellow key tag for 9 months. They got a glow in the dark key tag. The key tags were a big deal in New York. I got clean in 1990 and 1991. I came back. And so the key tags were like, if you were like, if they were like, medals of honor. You know what I mean? Like if you got a blue key tag, you was like a gangster. Like I'm clean 6 months. What? You know what I mean? Like, just if you had an orange key tag, 30 days, you know what I mean? Like you're clean 90 days, weekends included, you know what I mean? Like, and being clean. And so I remember February 28th, 1991, was my February 27th was my last time I used. February 28th is my clean day. I've been clean a long time. And so, but I remember coming back from the relapse and making 90 meetings in 90 days. They said, you gave your life to drugs. You you became the Puerto Rican Spider-Man, climbing buildings. You did all this crazy stuff for drugs. You gave it 150% to chase the next one. Now you got to chase your recovery. Now you got to put in the work for your recovery. You got to show up to grow up. You know what I mean? You can't serve the disease with giving all you got and then come to recovery and say, I don't know. But no, you got to make a move. Now it's time to make a power move, and I made 90 meetings and I made 3 meetings a day. I'm in New York City, right? I didn't have a job. I was unemployable. My attitude, I needed to just make meetings, don't use and make meetings and don't use and make me, I needed to make a lot of meeting makers make it. And I made meetings. I made meetings in Brooklyn, Manhattan. I made meetings. And little by little, man, 30 days, one day became 5 days. 5 days became, I got 30 days clean. I had my orange key tag. I was walking I put my orange key tag on my zipper. I put my orange key tag on my Timberland boots. I put my orange key tag on my scoop, on my backpack. I was walking around in New York. If you see somebody with a key tag in the train, you say, yo, Easy does it. And you say, just for today. And, you start yelling slogans at each other back and forth in the train or on the bus. It was a thing. It was a thing. We recognized each other. Yo, one day at a time, And so I was clean, man. I was clean. I got key tags. My mother, my mother was, she didn't know if she could trust it because but after a while, my mother was like, my son is doing good. I took my sisters to their first NA meeting. I said, yo, these guys, they speak here. They talk about, and I was able to get clean. And I got a sponsor. It was hard asking another man for help. I didn't have a father growing up. I don't have no brothers growing up. I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't have I didn't have a male figure in my life. I didn't have nobody to go back me up. I couldn't run home and get back up. I had to get a knife and then a gun and, I had to do it myself. And so be it in jail, I was by myself. And, they told me ask another man for help. That was hard. Asking another man for help was very difficult for me. But I was able to find, this old man came to, I was able to get a sponsor and they loved me in the fellowship. It was weird because I wonder, why are they being nice to me? I will kill somebody. I'm not the one. Like, you don't try to play. You guys know what I'm talking about. Somebody being nice to you. What's their motive? What they want? You know what I mean? And I didn't understand why these people were so nice to me. And so um they were loving me, man. They took me to eat burgers. They took me to meetings. They said, "Yo, what are you doing?" And it's like I remember being in Rikers Island, and I remember some of the guys from my neighborhood. They said, "Listen, Ray, there's not a lot of us in here, right? But if you got beef, if you go all out for yourself, we'll go all out with you, right?" That's what they said. But if you go all out for yourself, we'll go out with you. But you got to do your part. And in recovery, if you show up to meetings, if you get a commitment, if you people they'll see that you're going all out and they'll go all out with you. If you understand what I'm trying to say to you. There's people that, yo, I came from down under. Whenever I can help somebody, I want to help somebody. If there's somebody that comes from, I want to pay it forward. I'm here all these years later because somebody took me out to eat a burger. When they said, "Are you hungry?" I was like, "No, I'm good." They said, "Well, why your stomach is making so much noise in the meeting?" You know what I mean? Like, if you're not hungry, what's all that? Yo, they say, "Yo, we'll buy your burger." Let us. And it was all right. So they loved me. They took me to my first convention, all this other stuff. I got clean, man. I stood away from people, places, and things. I got new friends in recovery, new people in recovery. I made a lot of meetings. I did service. I made coffee, all this stuff. And I got clean. And when you get clean and you do the work, and you take something, they told me this, right? Somebody said, all the suggestions in NA are free, right? All the suggestions in Narcotics Anonymous are free. The only ones you have to pay for are the ones you don't take. And I had to think about that for a minute. They're all free. The only ones you got to pay for are the ones and so take suggestions. These people know how to live, Raymond. These people are clean 5 years. This guy buried his mother. He didn't use. That guy got a divorce and he didn't use. That guy's a Mets fan. They suck and he doesn't use. You know what I mean? I'm a Mets fan, by the way. So you know what I mean? Like you got to watch your team lose and don't use nothing. And you gotta learn how to be angry and don't use nothing. And you gotta learn how to fight with your girlfriend and don't use nothing. And you gotta learn how not to use. How to use the phone instead of the drug. Use the meeting list instead of a drug. Use the tools that they give you. And I didn't know nothing. I was a kid when I got clean. I used to come to meetings with a razor in my mouth because of my Rikers Island days, razor in my mouth, a 9mm, and I was like, and little by little, man, I'm grateful my first year clean, my mother came to the meeting. Back then, things changed. Back then, nobody who's not an addict can talk, right? And so my mother, I'm at my first year anniversary, and in New York, we do like a big party. We get all this stuff. It's nice. And my mother says, "Ray, I want to say something." I said, "Ma, you can't talk." She said, "Yo quiero decir algo." She's Spanish. I said, "Ma, you can't talk. This is addicts only. You can't talk. You're lucky you're here." So she got up in front of everybody, interrupted the meeting, and started to talk. I said, "Oh, she's embarrassing me. The NA Rangers are here, Ma. We're gonna, the traditions, And she said, and she started crying, man. And I don't want to cry. She said, "I want to thank you guys, because you gave me back my son. I lost my son a long time ago. And you guys gave me back my son. And I'll never forget that. My mother's dead, you know what I mean? I'll never forget that day. I was able to give my mother, the program was able to give my mother 16 years of peace before she died. 16 years, I took my mother out on dates. I took her to I told you I'm a Mets fan. I took her to the Subway Series, the Mets against the Yankees. There was we're Puerto Ricans. There's this Puerto Rican famous percussionist named Tito Puentes. He opened up a restaurant in the Bronx. I was able to take my mother to meet Tito Puentes, take her to the restaurant. I was able to do a lot of wonderful things that a good son that I always wanted to be but couldn't be because I needed the next one. Because I'm clean, because I have people in NA, I'm learning how to take my mother and do things. And it was an incredible 16 years that NA gave me with my mother. And when she died, one of the things my mother told me, she said when I was in jail, she said, "Raymond, you made my life a living hell." She said, "You made my life a living hell. When everybody asks me about how my son is doing, I feel shame because my son is a drug addict, because my son is in jail, because my son shot this one, because my son stabbed that one, because and she goes, I'm so embarrassed. When people ask me about my son, I feel all this shame." She said, she said, "You made my life a living hell." She says, when I die, she says, "At least let me rest in peace." She says, "Do not attend my funeral," she told me. "I don't want you at my funeral, you bleepity bleep bleep." Well, when my mother died, I had 16 years clean, and I was the only one there. And I had the beautiful honor and the privilege of holding her hand and being there with her as she transitioned. You understand? It was such an incredible moment because I was in a lot of pain, but I understand that this was a gift. That I thought that I would go to my mother's funeral in shackles. You know, that's how my family come. We come in shackles with the marshals in New York. You know, and I thought I'm gonna be, you know, I'm gonna be. But I was able to hold her hand when she died. I was able to pay for her funeral. I was able to, you know, it was NA has given me a lot more than just abstinence. You understand? And it has given me the ability to be a son, to be a brother, to be an uncle, to be a father, to be a husband. You know, I've been clean. I'm married 25 years. I got friends in my house right now from Turkey and from Reno, Nevada, and I have people from Tennessee over this weekend, and from all over the world. I've been able to travel the world and let people know what has happened to me in Narcotics Anonymous, that I got clean. I was a street punk, a little, you know, cartoon gangster, and I was afraid, and I was angry, and I was rageful, and I went from hateful to grateful. And NA taught me how to be a man and how to talk, you know, without using profanity. There's nothing wrong with cursing if you curse. It just I stopped using profanity, and I found a relationship with a higher power, and you know, just being able to transform my whole life. I thought I just drugs. And then you find out, no, you got to learn how to change your old ideas of thinking, your old ways of behaving. In fact, they said, yo, matter of fact, young blood, you just got to change one thing. Don't just one thing. You know what that one thing is? Everything. Right? They said you got to change everything. Chris, give me the 5 minute sign when let me know. I don't know how much time I got. I don't want to. Let me know how much time I got. All right. All right. So I came to meetings. I made meetings. I got a sponsor. I began to do service. At some point, I began to work the program as a 12-step program. I became a good son. I got, you know, I didn't share this because I had a daughter when I was my first child. I was 15 years old. I was, you know, I was running amok on the streets. I was bugging out, and I never got to meet that girl. That I would be in jail wondering what color her eyes are. You know, I never got to see her. I never got to, you know, to I feel when you don't have a father and you end up doing that to somebody else, it feels double worse sometimes. You know what I mean? So I had this daughter that I never got to meet. I was too busy running from the police and doing this thing and drugs. And so the disease took that from me. I never got to meet that young lady. I was 15 when she was born. I'm going to be 50, you know, now. So you do the math. She'd be 35 years old. I never got to meet her. But in recovery, I got, you know, I have another daughter. I had a daughter, a NA baby, let's say. And this daughter, I've been able to go on every school trip with her. I've been able to take her. She was little. I took her on dates every Friday. I showed her love. You know, her middle name is Precious because she's very valuable to me. And all this stuff. I've been able, now she's 23. She could be 23 years old. I went on every school trip for 8 years. I would fly back from other countries to go on a school trip with her. I made sure that I went to the zoo with her. I went to the museum with her. I went to campouts with her. I was able to be an incredible father to this daughter because of Narcotics Anonymous. The disease stole my first daughter, but not this one. You know what I mean? And on and on. And some of you guys have seen me on different platforms doing different things. I have an incredible relationship with a higher power. You know, I'm a professional. People pay me to talk to me and for me to talk to them and for me to go talk. Like I made NA meetings and I did this thing for recovery, and it became a lifestyle. It became how I live. I go all over the world telling people, yo, I was a dirty, filthy drug addict. I was not good for a bad example. I was waiting to die. I was hopeless. I was a lost cause. Listen, and my mother, they had bought a plot. They were waiting to bury me. But I ended up hearing somebody from Narcotics Anonymous. Higher power made a way of escape for me. I ended up coming to meetings. Check it out. I got a friend of mine that we went to commit, you know, we went to do some things in the Bronx one day, right? I got to be careful what I say. And he went to jail for 20 years. And I went to NA for 20 years. You understand? And it could have been easy. It could have been easy the other way. I could have been in prison for 20 years, and he could have, you know what I'm saying? I count that as the grace of a higher power. You understand? I believe I was chosen. In NA, it's not a religious program, it's a spiritual program. And they said that you can choose a higher power, and they want your higher power to be loving and caring. And if you ever look up the word loving and caring, because I'm doing step work, Yo, my higher power chose me, looked out for me, provided special grace for me. I'm the only one. Can you imagine a bunch of people using? I'm the only one that higher power picked up. I'm the only one from my crew that I ended up coming from where we was doing over there and coming to Narcotics Anonymous and getting clean. To get clean as a teenager, to stay clean, all my 20s clean, all my 30s clean, all my 40s clean. Now we're going into the 50s. If the creek don't rise, you know what I mean? I'm getting ready to go into my 50s. I lost all my hair, right? I got more teeth. I don't know if you can see, I got nice teeth. I pay for these. I got more teeth and I got less hair. You know what I mean? We call it furniture in New York. I got new furniture, all right? It don't come out. It stays in there. It costs me a lot of money. I pay for that. And yo, I got 2 sons. I got a daughter. I got 2 grandkids. They never see my daughter is 23. My son is 29. They never see me using. You understand? They never see me put their hands on their mother. Right, where I come from, that's a Puerto Rican culture is an issue, domestic stuff. You know what I mean? They never see me drunk. They never it's been NA making these stupid meetings because I was 18 and I was like, oh, these freaking old people. Oh, look at it. He's farting mummy dust. Look at him. Just all these old people, and yo, it changed my life, man. Changed my life. So anytime I get opportunity, I was just in an institution last week. I get to do H&I here. I get to speak all over in person. I will never be able to pay back what NA has given me. Never will I be able to pay back. Clean over 3 decades, married 25 years. I went from homeless to a homeowner. You know what I mean? I went from unemployable to having my own, I do what I want when I want, my own business. I went from totally lonely and isolated, lost, hating everybody for every reason, whatever reason. I find a reason to hate you, to now I got a guy that looks like he's from the Hells Angels in my house. I got a black guy from England in my house. I got a Mexican guy who's I got people from all over, all colors, all flavors, and they changed my life, man. And so I get these opportunities to let you know that there's nothing specifically special about me. If you get to hear this message, you have an incredible opportunity, and you could do what I did. It's not like something special. When you get out of there, some of you, when you get out of there, need to run to a meeting. Some of you, your life depends on it. You understand? Please give yourself an opportunity. Do 90 meetings in 90 days. Come check out what we have to offer. You understand? It's an incredible way of life. The third tradition says that if you have a desire to stop using, miracles can happen. Miracles upon miracles upon miracles can happen if you have the desire to stop using. And so I hope that when you guys, there's conventions in Tennessee, there's meetings all over the world now because of this platform that we're on now. You can go on meetings. I was just on there was on a meeting in London. Somebody was on a meeting in Iran. You can make meetings all over the world now. You understand? And so I encourage you, no matter what your situation is, when you get out of there, make a meeting. They're sending, you guys got basic text, pamphlets. That's beautiful. Try to read that literature. When I read the NA literature, I swore somebody was following me. You know what I mean? How they know this stuff? You know what I mean? How do they know so much about me? And because we have a lot in common. We have a lot in common. Addiction, in Tennessee, addiction in London, addiction in South Africa, addiction in Sweden, addiction in Florida. Addiction is addiction. And recovery in London, recovery in Brooklyn, in Narcotics Anonymous, we do recover. So I'm very grateful. I'm here. I hope that you guys, I hope that you can hear, there's addicts getting clean and staying clean all over the world. And I never thought I would have a passport traveling all over like I'm traveling. And I never thought I would have so many wonderful things in my life. But when you stay clean and you work a 12-step program, you have no idea the unlimited blessings that can come. And so I'm very grateful. I can go on and on and on. I speak for hours, but I'm not going to do that to you guys now. I think you guys get the point. If this dirty, filthy drug addict from Brooklyn, New York can get clean and stay clean, then you can get clean and stay clean. The obsession can leave you, and you can find an incredible way of life that I never imagined possible. And so I think that's it for me, Chris. Thank you so very much for having me. Thank you guys. Yo, you guys, I'm I'm praying for you guys in Maury County Jail. I love you guys. God bless you.
I got one request, por favor.